Xbox, the Box and Xbox podcast. My name is Potato, and I'm with my good friend, Alice. How you doing, Alice?
Hi. And normally I would have like cat ears for this one, but unfortunately that the pleather on this headphones after like 4 years of purchasing it just started to flake off, so I had to put a sleeve on it. Just to deal with this common cracking problem, but because it's like thick, it doesn't like allow the cat ears to be on it, so I have to be without the cat ears. But it still works fine, so functionality over Essex, I guess.
Yeah, that sucks. That's unfortunate. Are you recording this on your new computer, or are you on the old computer still?
I'm not fully set up on my new computer actually, because
okay.
I was gonna like try to like do the new computer, but I still haven't fully set up, which I did set up a computer in my flat now, but I still have to go through things like dealing with the software and how I record it. So this has a bit of a way to go. Also got a bunch of things to do, like having to catch up on my projects and even sorting out parts of my flat, because recently you've just been through the renovations, which means I had to move all the items around, and now it's just like, means stuff being moved around, so it might be a bit different now.
That's fair. Yeah, I see you sent me some pictures. It looks very nice. So exciting, do a bit of renovation. So yeah, so we got quite a lot to get through today. This is probably one of the biggest topics of the show we have ever done, because Xbox has been in court. If you've been living under a rock, Xbox and the FTC have been going at it in battle in court, and it's been a fascinating one, and a lot of juicy details to come out from the court case. We've got so much to cover. It's ridiculous. It's probably the biggest topic of the show we've ever done, but we're just going to go through our normal subjects first. So, as we always do, what have we been playing?
What have we been playing?
Have you been playing anything, Alice?
Well, I was like playing Advance Wars 1 and 2 because I was living elsewhere, so I had to like stick to my Switch. Although I was looking like, if I replace shells for Joy-Cons or spray paint on parts of it, but I thought probably not, because I found that the Joy-Cons are an absolute nuisance to replace the shells for, whereas others like seems to do it okay. But I think I'm getting a little bit of a stick drift a bit on the right Joy-Con. But I don't know if that's exclusive to one game or not, because sometimes it doesn't go all the way times, but I think once or a few times it's just like as if someone tapped on the right stick a few times. So
I guess stick drift on my Pro controller on my Switch. For some reason it always goes downwards. So I mean, most people's stick drift is left or right. Mine's down. So I'm like, I'm walking, and a Link will just turn towards me and start walking towards me. I'm like, no, go the other way. What are you doing? Oh no, yeah, it's annoying. I hate that. I hate stick drift.
I think you should get one of those 8BitDo controllers, because this one didn't actually fail me. Like I got one that's in the Nintendo Game Boy Colors, which is like purple, pink, and black D-pad, but you can also get in clear purple or even one of those Game Boy Pocket colors. I mean, you will be spoiled for choice, really. So I think I'll just check through what the colors they do, because they do like controls for I think it was for the Xbox as well. So I might probably pop over to the website. I
might try and get one of those adapters that you got though and showed off in our video on the channel, so I could use my Starfield controller. And the TV just changed, but yes, use my Starfield controller like usual. I got so many Xbox controllers; it would just make sense to have an adapter so I can use my Xbox controllers on my Switch.
Well, actually,
that's probably the best logic way of doing it.
I got a 8BitDo controller though, and it's not the most reliable, but it does the job far better than the Design Labs controller. The only thing is you cannot open it unless you have some way to do that. But if you're able to open the shells and spray paint it, let me know in the comments. But yeah, you definitely have like controllers for the Xbox, and I think this one is the I think only one of them works for Xbox. I don't know about this one, but what's this? I wonder if that works. Oh, I think that's only with the Game Pass streaming, so that's a shame.
Okay.
But I think only one of them. I mean, this is what I use, which is the Xbox controller, and works so well. So, but yeah, as for the Switch, you'll be spoiled for choice because I think you can get one of those controllers like that. But what I would recommend that if you're looking for the 8-bit controller for your Switch, I definitely recommend this. That even though it doesn't have any grips on it, but it comes in loads of different colors, and you'll be able to play with this on the move. So also works with other functions, like you can hold down start and press one of those buttons, and you can like not only play it on the Switch, but you also use it to play with Windows, Steam Deck, whatever.
I also have the Hori red Switch controller wired, which works really well, and it also has like a turbo button. So that's my backup controller. But I prefer to use the Pro controller when I can, because I like to be a bit more relaxed than using a wired one. Yeah. So yeah, speaking of Switch, I've been playing Zelda again, and I just wanted to mention briefly that game is still amazing, still like probably my game of the year. And I was like, this game was absolutely fantastic. How can it get any better? And I've reached about 200 hours, and I've just unlocked something in there that's absolutely amazing. And I'm not going to spoil it for people. But I'm like, oh my god, this game's even better than I thought it was. Somehow, after 200 hours, I've found something that's insanely cool. I'm like, why is this 200 hours into the game? What are you doing? For people who have played the game, I'm just going to say, you beat the 4 anomalies, and then there's a 5th thing you have to do, and you unlock something really cool for doing the 5th thing. So if you play the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's just like, it's so rad. I'm like, why is this hidden 200 hours into the game? That's insane. So this is like the best game ever. Starfield is the only game I could possibly see being better than this year. I can't see anything else coming out this year that's going to blow me away at this level. Absolutely amazing game. Tears of the Kingdom. I highly recommend it to anyone who has a Switch. Just anyone in general. Just buy a Switch for it. It's really good. But yeah, hopefully it'll time me over till September when Starfield's out. Fingers crossed. Yeah, 200 plus hours, and I've just unlocked a really cool new feature. Mad game. I love it. And I've also been playing Halo, which I'm surprised. I thought you'd be playing Halo as well, Season 4.
Well, actually, I've been playing it, and I already completed the hazmat event, and so far it's just like, yeah, you can now like get a hazmat event, which gives you like 10 tier rewards and gives you some extra bits, but it's alright. The Season 4 is not really that terrific, but it does offer like infection. It offers models which it's just the same customization where you just select the model and you just change completely for the gun. But I just recently got packs where you can get an assault rifle that has a nice detail when you hold it, and I think there's a few other bits too. So, but I think sometimes like every season it concentrates on one area, which is the weapon models. Whereas last season, it's just like focuses on like Mirage and Chimera, and I think it's just cycling through lots of things. And this season is supposed to be like you get the return of like I think it was the 10Y event, which you now get items for the UI core, and there's supposed to be a cyber showdown based on the items you may possibly get in the game, and that includes a pinball charm.
Ooh.
But yeah, so I've been playing that, and I just went through like gunnery. I think it went over to Lieutenant last time I played, and I got some experience. So I got as far as like close to level 20 on the battle pass, so it's quite good.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm level 23 on the battle pass, and I've got 8 of the hazmat pieces because I maxed it out last week before the hazmat event came out. I did all the challenges for the week, and now I got 2 challenges to go this week, So I'm going to go back and play that later, and I've been doing double XP the whole time as well. So I'll play a lot of Halo. Basically, I'll play Halo for like an hour with double XP, get all the challenges done, or most of them. Then I'll play Zelda for like 3 hours, and then repeat it, do that every night. Get my Halo on for like an hour, then play Zelda for like 2 or 3 hours, and then go bed, then go work. That's been my like routine. But yeah, it's so good. I still enjoy playing Halo. I love Halo. It's one of those things. I'm gonna always love Halo. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, so you might agree with me on this one. The challenge is stuff like kill certain amount of people in PvP, do this in PvP, and this in PvP, and then Infection doesn't count for PvP. But Infection's the main game mode for this season. So you're saying that you want me to play Infection, which is a new game mode, but then you're not giving me any challenges for Infection. So that doesn't make any sense.
It's kind of ridiculous.
It's weird. So I've been playing a lot of Team Slayer and Squad Slayer stuff just so I can get the challenges done. Doesn't really make any sense. That's a bit broken, Free for Free, if you're listening. I know you're not, but if you are, if someone in Free for Free is listening, fix your challenge system. Because they did say months and months ago that they were going to fix the challenge system. It does still feel a bit broken to me. Like, you need to get a certain amount of kills with certain weapons still and stuff like that. I thought they were getting rid of that. And they're still doing it, which is weird. I thought that was something they were getting rid of, but I don't know. Luckily, I have loads of weapons challenge swap still from like previous battle passes and stuff that I never used. So if I get a challenge I don't like, I'll just challenge swap it. But it is annoying, to be fair. Just one of those things.
Well, I think, to be honest, like, you're right to say about the challenges, and not only that, Infection doesn't give as many points towards either your battle pass, and also they introduced career ranks in season 4, which you you increase ranks by getting a good score in the game. So if you do well in games, you get points faster towards it, which is why Infection, if you're really good at it, you may get as much as like 630, and then it's just like, why go through Infection to grind the career rank system if you can just play like community doubles or quick play, where if you go into like objective-based maids, you're more likely to gain thousands of points by playing oddball strongholds.
True. And then also Infection, the game mode is designed so it's like designed so you basically like the person who's infected first has the most power basically, and then eventually they kill everyone, right? So like that's how you're gonna get more points if you start off as an infected, I'd imagine. I mean, like, sort of. It's you need to be very organized with the team to make sure no one gets infected and all that. I do enjoy Infection mode; it's a lot of fun, but it's a bit unbalanced for leveling up.
Well, you're saying about the alpha infected. Well, but the people who have been infected has a content translocator, and to be honest, it's a bit OP because once you activate it, you just like teleport between the last points you made it. So if you activate it, it creates a portal, and when you go around and then press RB, it creates another portal that you just switch over. Then you switch over the portal, and you just switch over to the last point you've used it. So it's like as if you're going in some kind of a tennis rally for quite some time. But with the infected alphas, you only have like the shroud bubble, or whatever it's called, cloud shroud. Which could be useful, I suppose, but even so, it's just great. Like infected. Now you just like you don't have just a shotgun; it has shotgun of unlimited ammo, and you also got like commandos too. And you can also pick up weapons, which is why as soon as you get over to the machine gun and you can rip it off the ground, then as long as you find somewhere that you only have 1 point to go through, you're just basically overpowered and impossible to get rid of it. So, you're right to say it's just really unbalanced.
Yeah, it's fun, though. I'm not saying it's not a fun mode, but it is a bit of a weird one. Hopefully they'll fix it. And hopefully fix your challenges Free for Free, for God's sake. It's really annoying. So that's what I mean. Do you want to talk about anything else you've been playing, or should we move on?
Also like dipping my fingers into pies, and to be honest, I seem to be forgetting about a few things. But I just got back to Paladins for a couple of games. there's a 5th year anniversary going on where you can get some rewards based on the amount of games you play. And I thought, yeah, that's cool. And also got like champion unlocks and limited skin unlocks. So that's great. But yeah, I think the reason that I brought up Paladins and just been checking it out, because people have been like, seems to be meme talking about it as an alternative because of Overwatch 2 being dead. Like, I think at the moment that Overwatch 2 is like Overwatch with DLC, and the challenges are like too much of a grind, which is why people are coming over to Paladins to check it out and see if there's a good alternative. So, I mean, if you're in the mood for like getting some Overwatch 2 action and you're not happy with it, then you could check Paladins out. Also, there's Sonic Origins Plus, and I've been checking out the Game Gear titles, but the speakers are not in sync when you play them. But the biggest thing is that you have Knuckles and Sonic CD, fun. But the biggest thing is like the Amy Rose in all 4 Sonic games, and it's just like really refreshing after all those years. But because she doesn't play like the Amy you play in Sonic Advance games, you instead like have like, because you only have one button, and like if you hold down jump during A, you just like do either this spin, jump, dash, and this will allow Amy to use her hammer, spin around with it, and then like go attack with it. But there's a biggest difference. It's very similar to Sonic, only the biggest difference between her and Sonic is that like she cannot use the power of her shields, whereas Sonic can in like Sonic 3 and bits. So it's very interesting.
I like it. Are you going to be getting Sonic Superstars when that comes out, or is when's that out? That's not far now, is it?
I just wait until the reviews come out, because even though I'm not that trustworthy towards it after Sonic 4 and Forces, people just seems to be praising it. So I just wait until see how the reviews turn out for it.
That's fair. I was tempted to pick it up in the Fantasy League, but I'm like, I don't know. Sonic could be inconsistent. It might be really bad. But it looks good. I'm really optimistic for it. I was going to say, like, use that as a really good transition to move into the Sega story and the news. But I did also want to mention that weekly challenges on Xbox to get points, reward points, is to play Gears of War 1 on multiplayer. So it's 250 points on the reward system to do that. So I played one quick game of Gears of War 1 multiplayer. That was a lot of fun. And I played it purely on the cloud on my big TV, and it worked pretty well. It's not as smooth as if I was playing it normal, but I was really impressed by the fact that I played an online game against 7 people, I guess, because 3 on my team, 4 against 4 other people, and it was quite a smooth experience. 250 points so you could use to buy games and buy game pass and stuff. 250 reward points just for playing one multiplayer game of Gears 1. You can play it over the cloud, and I was quite impressed by how seamless that was over the cloud. It actually worked really well. I thought playing a multiplayer game over the cloud would be a nightmare, but it actually worked pretty well, all things considered. So enjoyable. I actually enjoyed that, and I won as well, so that was fun. Just going around chainsawing people. As we were the locusts, we killed all the humans. Yeah, long live the locusts. Yeah, easy points for spending, and it was a fun experience. And I thought I'd mention it because obviously I think there's a couple of news stories about Cloud. And it's just I thought it was an interesting thing because it's the first time I played Cloud on the console for a multiplayer game. I played Cloud before, like single player games and stuff, but a multiplayer game, I was quite impressed. It actually worked for an online multiplayer game, so I was quite impressed by that actually. Was there anything else you want to talk about? We moved on to the news.
That's about it. Let's move on to the news.
The news at Xbox O'Clock.
The biggest news ever. So much news to cover. So let's get on with it. It is the news. Speaking of Sonic and Amy Rose and all the Sonic games, Xbox nearly bought Sega. Oh my god. I've been saying every single podcast if I had the energy to do this, I would love to go through all our previous podcasts and clip out every section where I've gone, Xbox should buy Sega, and then just like montage it together, because I literally say it every podcast. I've been saying Xbox should buy Sega, and they never actually did try and buy Sega, which is hilarious. It's like, so they have got common sense. It's the perfect fit for Xbox. They got the what Xbox is lacking in Japanese developers, Japanese games, icons, and like retro games, and a back catalog, and that's literally what Sega covers. You'll get like Yakuza, Persona, and all that, like all the Japanese games. Then you get Sonic, and then you get the back catalog of like Sega games and mascot platformers and all sorts of stuff. Sega makes the most sense. And apparently Xbox agrees, because that's what they were trying to do. They were also trying to buy Bungie as well, which we've said, like, why would Bungie go to PlayStation? And we were really sad. I was really sad when Bungie went to PlayStation. Apparently Xbox did try and get Bungie back. So that's interesting as well. There's tons of other people as well. IO Interactive, CD Projekt Red. There's so many people they tried to buy. I thought it was interesting. What do you think? Are you interested in any of these companies?
Yeah, I think you were been saying about Xbox buying Sega. I think it just makes sense for them to buy it because Sega's been with Xbox for such a long time. So, but I think it's just as easier for them to buy them instead of having to go through the shenanigans with Activision stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I would be much happier if they bought Sega than ABK. To be perfectly honest, I would much prefer that, but I don't think Xbox sees it that way. I can't see Sega being worth £69 billion like ABK though. I imagine they're more like 4 or 5 billion. I think they're quite like on the smaller side, surprisingly, even though they've got so many iconic franchises and stuff. Like, would you prefer to have Sonic or Call of Duty on your console? I think Call of Duty sells better, but I feel like Sonic's more iconic, right?
I would say Sonic would be better, though.
Personally, I think Sonic, but I think money-wise, I think Call of Duty is probably a bit more where the money is. But yeah, I agree. I mean, does that mean they're going to buy Sega once the ABK deal's done? I hope so. I would love to see that. I would love that because you're a massive Sega fan. I'm a massive retro.
I like the retro Sega games, but it's just gone worse over the years.
Yeah, but I think it'd be really cool because I have so Xbox finally would be able to compete with retro games. Yeah, we got stuff like Banjo-Kazooie and like Rare games and stuff, but it'd be nice to have like some 8-bit games and 16-bit games that are like native to the Xbox. It'd be nice to have some like Sega Mega Drive games and stuff. You know, I think that'd be rad. I think it'd be super awesome. Alice the Kid, Golden Axe, Sonic. Echo the Dolphin. I mean, you know Sega better than I do. Like, what other cool stuff can we get if we get Sega? Like, so much cool stuff. Yeah, I love Sega. I mean, I'm more of a Nintendo person, but I would still be thrilled to see Sega come to Xbox. I think it'd be a massive deal. It'd be awesome. It'd be perfect for us, I think. Speaking about Perfect Dark. That was a good transition. Perfect Dark is in trouble. It is still in early stages of development, even though it was announced years ago. They've had lots of turnover, lots of people leaving the project, and it's still in early development. We might not see this until 2025, 2026, 2027, oh God knows. It seems it's in development hell. Are you disappointed? Because I was really looking forward to Perfect Dark. What would you think?
Well, not really. I think it's been in the such a limbo that it's just not that huge of some sort. So I'm not really expecting Perfect Dark to come out, but I think this has obviously been in development hell for about a decade or some sort. So that's a bit unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. I'm really hoping they get this sorted. Like basically, they built up the initiative, the big quadruple A studio. With all the big names in the business, which is ridiculous. Quadruple A annoys me. That's such a dumb thing to say. But anyway, they made a quadruple A studio, and then I think they said 80% of the staff left, and now they've got Crystal Dynamics making it, the people who made Tomb Raider, and they're still in early development, even though they've been making it for the last 2 or 3 years now. Mad. I don't get it. Very odd. Okay, Project Dragon by IO Interactive is official. It is real. It is an Xbox exclusive. We heard rumors about this game a long time ago. It is a Dragon first-person RPG made by the creators of Hitman. They are also making James Bond at the same time. But this is an Xbox. But Project Dragon is an Xbox exclusive. Project IO Interactive was one of the people that Xbox wanted to buy as well, which is interesting to hear that they're making an exclusive for Xbox, and Xbox wanted to buy them, so that's very interesting. Are you excited for some Dragon RPG first-person shooter? Is that something you sound like the sound of? I don't know. Sounds interesting. Sounds like Avowed, to be honest. I mean, we're getting Avowed. I mean, hey, if it means that we have that to keep us going until the Elder Scrolls comes out, yeah, bring it on. We'll have lots of Elder Scroll type games until I'll actually get the next Elder Scrolls in like 2040 or whatever it comes out.
Yes.
I mean, it's cool that we're getting more exclusives. I like that. I think that's awesome. We don't know anything about it, but it is cool that we're getting a new exclusive. Before we get into the court case, which is our topic of the show, we do want to maybe glaze over the Fantasy League a little bit, if you want. Or
yeah, let's do that.
A little rush over. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm gonna be honest. You're still battering me. You got 121 points. I got 63 points, but I managed to pick up Super Mario Wonder and Super Mario RPG, and I think I got a good chance of getting a comeback now because of those two games.
I tried to put the bid for the RPG remake.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds sneaky. I paid £18 for each of them because I knew that's how much money you had left, so you can buy it. Sorry.
Anyway, I think
sneaky.
But you probably have to make another game and just pick up another big juicy one because Stalker 2 is now marked as not going to release.
Yeah, so I got to come up with something. I got Football Manager as well, which I don't know why I picked a Football Manager because I went on Open Critic. Football Manager gets an 80 every year, and there's a new Football Manager coming out this year. So I was like, okay. But now this will be the year that it sucks. It gets like a 20 out of 100 or something. It completely derails my entire team. That'll just be my luck. But apparently, it consistently gets in the 80s. So I thought, oh, go on, I'll guess Football Manager. But yeah, I kind of knew you would go for. I knew you would go for Super Mario RPG, so I was like, I need to get it because you beat me to the Metal Gear Solid collection, and I was a bit gutted by that. So I was like, I need Mario RPG. I couldn't decide between that Mario RPG and Wonder, and I managed to get. I managed to remove Hellblade and all that, so that gave me one extra space so I could get it. So I was like, I actually have a chance of making a comeback. You're still way ahead of me. You're like 60. You're like double my points. She's still probably going to win the league, but I'm going to try and catch up. I gave the PlayStation guys Exoprimal and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 because they're games that those guys are. Well, actually, I think they don't like Exoprimal. I heard them talking about it on the podcast, so I thought I'd give it to them. But I know they're happy. I know they'll be happy for Warhammer for 40,000 Space Marine 2. I think next year, if we do this again, which hopefully we will. I think we'll try and get Phil or Davey or Spencer, one of the three, or even all three of them on to do their draft. I think that would be cool if we could actually play against them properly instead of just me guessing what they want.
Yes.
Ironically, I've been given them some rubbish games, and yet they're still ahead of me. They're 85 points ahead of me still. I'm losing to myself. What's going on?
Anyway,
and they still got Spider-Man to go as well. Goddamn.
Over to my list. I'm still waiting for more games to come out, and that includes Pikmin 4, and there's a bunch of them that is waiting to be released. But I'm still waiting on Silk Song, Million Hollower, and Sea of Stars, where if they ever come out or something like that. But I still have one slot left. And I'm going to have a hard time trying to find a game which I can put into the list.
Yeah.
But I'm still ahead though, so maybe I should be patient enough to just wait until September when things are looking good of some sort.
I'm sure they'll find something to fit in there. I'm sure. I think Sea of Stars comes out the day before Starfield, or like 2 days before Starfield, if I remember correctly.
I thought that was on August.
I can't. Oh, because we get it September 1st. So the access to Starfield. Sorry. So it's late August and then Starfield September 1st. If I remember correctly. Mina the Holler, I haven't heard anything about like release date wise. I've seen the game, but I haven't seen any release dates. Hollow Knight Silk Song, I don't know if that's coming out this year. They did say it's still coming this year though, so maybe. Obviously, if those games get announced as 2024, we can get them removed off your list, so you can buy 2 new games to replace them. But obviously, you don't want to replace them until you know for sure they're not coming out. So fingers crossed. I really enjoy the Fantasy League. I think it's really fun. I still have a chance of coming back, but I think you've pretty much got this in the bag here. I think Redfall completely cost me. That's minus 11 points. That's been my downfall. Is that? And Minecraft Legends getting a 0. Come on now. I thought that game was fun. That's not fair.
Well, the Legendary is pretty much incredibly annoying than like challenging. So.
Yeah. So, shall we move back on to the APK deal, the topic of the show?
Yep.
It's time for the topic of the show.
Topic of the show. This is the biggest topic of the show we have ever done. This is literally like 3 pages on my documents here. So this is a big one.
Wait a minute, you have? Jeez. Well, there's only like you spaced that out because of the screenshots.
There's some screenshots on there as well that take up space. Yes, that is true. Obviously, we kind of already discussed the court case a little bit, but I thought the Sega thing and the Perfect Dark and all that were kind of outside the court case a little bit. This is stuff that's actually happened during the court case. So let's just jump into it. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get on with it. So, at first, Phil Spencer has confirmed that Xbox has lost the console war, saying the console war is a construct made by gamers and it's not a real thing, but Xbox have lost it. And we have no way of competing. We've already lost the console war. We're 3rd place, and that's pretty much it. Do you feel sad by this? Do you care? Do you think it's
don't really care, to be honest. But I always see Xbox as more of an underdog, so I don't mind. And I mean, when the Xbox came out, PlayStation 2 is hot, even if I got it along the GameCube. And I think I seem to jump between all of those 3 consoles. But the next generation is like Xbox 360. But then I just moved over to the PlayStation 3. And I was like, got over to PlayStation 4. But then I decided to go over to Xbox One because of the better experience. But I think it's understood that, especially Europe, that the PlayStation is still like incredibly popular, whereas Switch is like catered for the family thing. So... yeah, it's just the Xbox is more of a... Well, I would say it's unlikely to win any favours, really.
Xbox has a chance of becoming the number 1 console again at some point. I feel like even though technically they lost the generation of the Xbox 360, they were in the lead for so long with the Xbox 360. The PS3 was a massive flop at the beginning. It took a while for them to catch up. I feel like Xbox moved on before PlayStation did, and let PlayStation kind of take them over again, you know? It's interesting to see that they came 3rd in that generation, which is interesting considering everyone had an Xbox 360. Everyone I know had an Xbox 360. I had like 4 of them. I absolutely adore the Xbox 360. Probably the Xbox 360 is probably my favorite console of all time.
You could run I think you could run a server with the 4 Xbox 360s.
Yeah, because that was when I was in university. So I had an Xbox 360 for when I was at home, like my house with my family. I had an Xbox 360 in my halls of university, but my flat in university, because I didn't want to take my Xbox back and forth with me every single weekend. Essentially, I would go home most weekends. I didn't want to bring my unplug my Xbox, put it in a bag, take it home with me every week. So I had 2 basically. And also I had the Red Ring of Death issues, so I had a couple of Red Ring of Death ones, and then I bought the Slim. So Yeah, I had a lot of Xbox 360s. I love the 360. It's such a good system.
So you say the slim one is the one to rule them all, is it?
Yes. Not the... Oh, do you remember the one that looks like an Xbox One? Can't even remember what that was called. That had a weird name to it. It was like the E or something, wasn't it? Like the Xbox 360.
Oh, is it Xbox 360E, is it?
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. Yeah.
Because I thought you were referring to the original Xbox, because that's the same size of Xbox One.
Oh, yeah. Bulky. But yeah, anyway, got off track a little bit. Yeah,
well,
so
I would have to say that I currently own, like, I got 3 Xbox systems in at the moment.
Nice.
Like, Family Home, Xbox One X does the job. Got Xbox Series S for doing videos and streaming with it, and I got Xbox One, Xbox Series X to use under the big TV. But what I'm hoping is to have an Xbox Series S that can do 4K, which is a lot better than like Xbox Series X Ultra. But then I don't know. We just have to see.
I got a big TV downstairs that's 1080p, so it's not 4K. So I'm tempted to buy a Series S for that TV downstairs because it can't do 4K anyway. I'm tempted. I want to get the Black Series X for no reason apart from I just want it. I have no reason to get one, but I want it. It just looks pretty. I'm like, I kind of want it just to look at, and I'm more likely to play that than my PS5 because I don't even play my PS5. It is collecting dust. I should sell my. Anyone want to buy a PS5 or trade a PS5 for a Series X Black? Let me know in the comments below. I will do it. Because I want to play Spider-Man, but that's literally the last thing I'm probably going to play on my PS5. Screw playing Foam Stars, right? I mean, God. That's like their next big exclusive is Foam Stars.
Yeah.
Screw that.
the Xbox Series S Black, the 1 terabyte one, is just going to be a bit of a pesky one to find, so... Yeah.
I want it. It's beautiful. It's so pure. It's so pretty. Yeah, funny. Yeah, like the guys off topic again. I was listening to the PS We Trust podcast. And they're saying like, well, they even called me out saying, "Oh, Potato, you don't buy games because you're an Xbox gamer. You don't buy games." So
I think this argument is going to die off real quickly because of the PlayStation Showcase.
Yeah, I basically called them out saying like I'm not going to buy. Well, I would buy games for PlayStation if you actually released anything this year. So you didn't. So what do you want me to do? I'm not going to buy crap for no reason. Yeah. So there you go. I'll probably buy Spider-Man, but then there's literally nothing on PlayStation I'm looking forward to after Spider-Man. Maybe Wolverine, but that's it. I regret buying the PS5. It's such a waste of money. I'm sorry. It's such an eyesore. It looks so bloody ugly. This sounds really fanboyish, but it's true. It's a giant eyesore that's just taken up half my bloody room. It's massive, and I've played it like 4 or 5 times. It's not that great. It's a really overrated piece of kit. I much prefer my Xbox. I'm sorry.
Did at any point you just notice that this thing looks like a Wi-Fi route? You're almost mistaking it for the Wi-Fi router.
Yeah, something like that. God, it's so hideous. I don't know how anyone can think it looks like it's a horrible looking console. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of it anymore. I've really got off it. Especially listening to Jim Ryan talking. I mean, that's the topic in this thing. Jim Ryan's really put me off PlayStation. It really has. The stuff he's come out with the last few days. So I mean, I can talk about it now a little bit. Jim Ryan is full of crap. Basically, the first email that came out in the conference in the court case was basically him saying that if they lose Call of Duty, it's not a big deal. After months and months and months of him crying about losing Call of Duty, apparently he was like, Call of Duty, who cares? We're just going to make a fuss just for the sake of it. Basically, just being a whiny bitch. God, it's so annoying. It annoys me so much.
I think it's just I think it's just the problem with him. Like, he doesn't like the idea Microsoft buys Call of Duty, and yet it doesn't mind. It just seems as if like he doesn't really want Xbox to win. So, and I think it just reminds me in day 3, he's like, I just think if I given the opportunity, I could get Call of Duty on the PlayStation. And then when he was asked the question, right, if you were Xbox and if you were to like, are you going to intend to buy Call of Duty for Xbox and PC? And then he just refused to comment.
Yeah, he said, would you make it exclusive to PlayStation? He goes, well, that's a rhetorical question. I'm not answering. So in other words, yeah, you would. Yeah, you would, Jim Ryan. You little snake. Oh my God, he just reminds me of Boris Johnson. I swear they must be related or something. I swear. Don't want to get too political, but I'm just saying he reminds me of that. This is the line that killed me from basically also on day 3 he was saying all developers hate Game Pass, and then had no examples of any developers who actually hate Game. Where they go, so who are these developers who hate Game Pass? I don't know. All of them. All the ones I speak to don't like it. Liar. You liar, Jim Ryan. People love Game Pass. Like so many stories have come out of people making a game, like indie games that would never have been seen and no one ever would have played, doing really well because of Game Pass. I don't understand his logic. Anyway.
Well, do you know any developers who said they benefited from the Game Pass?
I don't know. Yeah, there was the guys who made the downhill biking game. I can't remember what it's called now. The people who made Tunic, the people who made Cuphead, the people who made Ori. There's like so many who loved Game Pass, from what I remember. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. But I think I'm right about those. Yeah, this is my favorite comment though of Jim Ryan's. He goes, the critical feature of gaming consoles in terms of attractiveness to people who make games is the level of the install base. The kind of utility of the user base for people who make games is to monetize against. AKA, we like console gamers because we can screw them out as much money as possible. Thanks, Jim Ryan. Oh yeah, we love people buying our PlayStation because we can monetize them and get as much money as we can out of them. Milk them for money. Let's get all the money out.
Well, as long as you don't mention Halo Infinite and its monetization system, we should be fine. Yeah. But then again, I don't know how that compares to PlayStation and the amount of like games with monetization on it.
I mean, you've got to pay $70 for games on PlayStation. Oh, yeah, you do on Xbox as well, but you have Game Pass as an option, right? £10 upgrades. They charge it. They got the VR headset that's £500 odd. You've got the Q Lite that's apparently $300. I didn't put that in the notes, but that came out in the court case as well. It's like, come on, PlayStation, stop being so greedy. Very greedy people. Anyway. I know Xbox isn't like good as gold or anything, but it does really put me off PlayStation. This does. I feel like Phil Spencer is much more eloquent and much better at being. He feels a lot more personal, a lot more like relatable, and he seems like a nice guy. Whereas Jim Ryan seems like a scumbag. He's just not coming across well in any of these comments. He says, "I'm sorry." Maybe he is a nice guy in real life, but in the comments, no.
But did you mention like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, that was the next subject. I was just about to go to that. Yeah, so Indiana Jones is exclusive to Xbox. Woohoo! Not exclusive. It's not going to be multi-platform, thank God. Yeah, Indiana Jones. They decided to. It was initially going to be multi-platform, but they reached a deal with Disney to make it a Game Pass game. So it's going to be day one Game Pass, and it's going to be exclusive to Xbox and PC. Which is great. Basically, they said they needed some kind of third-party IP to compete with Spider-Man. Granted, I don't think this. I love Indiana Jones. It's one of my favorite film series. But Spider-Man is kind of his own league. It's kind of way bigger IP than Indiana Jones. There's not many kids who go out there and go, "Ooh, let me play an Indiana Jones game over a Spider-Man game," you know. But that being said, it is good that Xbox are trying to compete, and we're trying to get some more known IP, which is nice. So yeah, interested. Indiana Jones the game is an Xbox exclusive. I'm excited for it. I hope it's good. Really hope it's. If it's good, then who cares if it's not as big as Spider-Man? You know, if it's a good game, people will buy it, right? Hopefully, or play it on Game Pass.
I hope so. Yeah,
I hope so. I hope it's good. I really do. I hope it's not like an Uncharted clone, which is ironic because Uncharted is essentially a Tomb Raider clone, which is essentially a knockoff of Indiana Jones. So we've kind of gone full circle. We got full circle.
Well, there's used to be like Tomb Raider games on like became exclusive to Xbox, which kind of like
That's true.
fell favor anyway. So
yeah, I mean, do you remember that? Yeah, so we bought exclusivity to the Tomb Raider game. Everyone lost their mind, and now PlayStation seems to do that every other day, and no one seems to care. It's just like, come on now, double standards, people. Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive to PlayStation. Oh well, whatever. Tomb Raider is exclusive to Xbox. Boom! Kill Xbox, burn them down. It's like, but yeah, I'm excited to see Indiana Jones. So this is the first, because with Deathloop and Ghostwire and all that, they kept their contracts and they didn't change them. This is the first contract they actually changed after the purchase of ZeniMax Bethesda. So that's interesting. So they are still willing to make changes, because they did say they were going to honor previous contracts, but they didn't with this one, interestingly. Although at least they changed the contract anyway. So interesting. I'm really excited to see this Indiana Jones game. And I think it'll be better for Indiana Jones being exclusive. I think if it was a multi-plat, I think a lot of people would just it would just kind of come and go. But as this is an Xbox exclusive, I feel like it's going to get marketing behind it. It's going to get people are going to be looking into it. People are going to be talking about it, use it in console war stuff. So yeah, we got Indiana Jones, haha, like that kind of stuff. It'll get more publicity because of that. I think if it was a multiplayer, it kind of just get lost in the shuffle. So I think that's good for Indiana Jones.
Do you mind if we move on? Because
yeah, I was just about to move to the next one because we've got loads to go. Right. New consoles, 2028. I feel like we've just bought these consoles. They've only just started to get used. I mean, PlayStation haven't released any first party just PS5 games yet. They're all cross-platform, really, or majority of them. Xbox, I think Flight Simulator is the only Xbox Series exclusive, right?
No, I think there's a few others that are Series X exclusive. It's true about this Flight Simulator, but I don't know, like, what about Forza Horizon 5 and the Forza Motorsport? I'm
not sure. I thought you could play them on the one, but maybe I'm wrong. Motorsport, no, because that's not out yet, but that's going to be series exclusive. And Forza Horizon was multi-platform. I'm not sure, though. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, because I never played it on the Xbox One, so I don't know. I mean, obviously, Forza Horizon 4 was, and Halo is as well.
And Hi-Fi Rush is out on like Xbox Series X and S, but then it's also available on PC, so I don't know how that compares.
Okay. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. We kind of got off topic again. Yeah, so we're in 2023. Consoles have been out for about 3 years now. The next consoles are coming out in 2028, in theory. Mm-hmm. So only 5 years from now, we'll be getting new consoles. I feel like that seems really soon. Maybe we're just getting old and time is going fast for us, I guess. Because 8 year time span isn't actually about average for games consoles, right? I don't know. I feel like that's too soon, but I don't know. 5 years from now, maybe in 5 years, I'll be bored of my Xbox and I'll be happy to get a new one. I don't know. Are you excited for the thought of a new Xbox coming out in 2028, or are you happy with what you got?
Well, not only I would be happy with what I got at the moment, and I was hoping for like upgrades to the Xbox Series X and S. But I'm more interested like in a new Switch, which could be coming out next year. But then I'll be in my 40s by the time the new Xbox comes out.
Oh, Jesus, you're right.
But then
me too.
I think it just seems that with enough time, it will probably be able to do ray tracing all right at 60 frames per second. Because at the moment, the systems that they have out, they seem to reach bottlenecks or frame rate drops whenever they do like ray tracing. Like, it's not something that's a really simple effect to deal with, and instead you just like get interesting graphics at 4K. So pretty much.
But this is going to be a controversial thing to say, and I think a lot of people are going to be pissed if I say this. The next generation of consoles, I think most games are still going to be at 30 frames a second. They push in graphical fidelity. They want to make the game as pretty as possible, and the first thing they compromise for that is frame rate. They want to push the systems as hard as they can to make games look pretty, and then the frame rate suffers for it. As you said, ray tracing. So they'll have like ray tracing or whatever the new faddy thing is in 2028, the new hotness, the new graphics thing, particles, skin shading, sweat detailing, I don't know, but basically they'll just make it look as visually impressive as they possibly can. And the first thing they'll get compromised is 30 frames a second. It's going to be the same as this generation. Good news would be, hopefully on the next Xbox we'll be able to play Starfield backwards compatibility, and they'll probably get boosted to 60 frames a second, because the new consoles will be able to handle the 60 frames of Starfield. Probably. It'll be the same as what they've done with all the Fallout 4 and stuff on the current consoles. So yeah, I'm not, I don't know, I'm old. Maybe I'm just too old to know. Like, but a new console in 5 years, I don't know. I'm not really ready for it. Maybe we might get a mid-gen refresh, like the Xbox One X, so like an Xbox Series X Pro or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, interesting. Okay. xCloud is the least popular Xbox feature, and it costs the most to run. Basically, it's costing Xbox a lot of money to run xCloud, and it's not really that successful. They thought it'd be more successful than it was. Not many people have embraced it. That's why they didn't bother with the Keystone, which was rumored for a while, which was a pure streaming box for Xbox. Yeah, the people haven't really adapted to cloud streaming quite yet. What do you think? Are you interested in cloud? I mean, I was telling you about my story about playing Gears of War on the cloud, but I don't think I would want that as my everyday experience. To be honest, it was playable, but I'd rather play everything native myself.
Well,
what do you think?
I just think that it's still a bit early to deal with the cloud gaming, because I think for somebody who's got like good internet, they may benefit from it, but right now is just still like has still got more teething issues, and it's not fully integrated into everything. Like the compatibility is not 100% great, but if you do have a fast internet with a certain Game Pass games, it works. But that's presuming as if you've got a good internet connection. But I think really it's just like, I don't know, because I think it's still too early for Microsoft to like invest so much into this. But once they start using the technologies they bought other companies for, they're probably more likely to like probably have more emphasis on doing cloud gaming, and we might even like have more Game Pass games on the Switch, so who knows?
That'd be interesting. Yeah, apparently the most used part of xCloud is people playing Xbox Series games on their Xbox Series before downloading, like what I did with Gears of War. So basically people streaming their games to their Xbox while they're downloading the full game, playing it on the cloud. Or just like getting their rewards, I guess, for playing games on the cloud. That's the most used form of the cloud, apparently. Not used more than people who are playing it on their iPads or their phones or whatever. So that's just an interesting thought process. Yeah, the cloud, not what they were expecting. They invested a lot in it, and it's not really paid out for Xbox yet, unfortunately. But that's something they're going to keep investing in, I imagine. Okay. Console is the slowest growing and smallest market, according to Xbox. Mobile is the future. That makes me sad. I'm old. I don't like mobile gaming. I don't want to play video games on this. I want to play. I use this to text people and make phone calls and go on Facebook because I'm old, and go on Twitter. I play games on my console. I do not want to play games on a mobile phone. I'm sorry, I just don't. But apparently that's the audience. Apparently the console audience is stagnant. It hasn't grown in decades. Apparently they're saying that it's the slowest growing segment. Apparently, so mobile. That's why they're trying to get ABKs for mobile. And PC and mobile are the biggest two markets, and console is a third place, unfortunately.
So, well, to me, that I don't really want to play games on that either. So I just think like I'm not really a fan of like dealing with those things. And to be honest, it's just like Like, they seem to like push for mobile games, but I don't know a lot about them. Like, if they have to move away from console or like focus on either PC or mobiles, then I'm pretty much done with gaming and just move to other pastures like YouTube or reading books, because I don't particularly enjoy like having to get mobile games and then somehow they don't do anything about like physical buttons instead of touchscreen. Because I have tried touchscreen games and then it didn't work out for me. So I just would rather like stick with like consoles or even handhelds for the matter.
I don't get how kids play games with their touchscreen. I know there's a lot of you out there who do. Like, how do you play touchscreen Fortnite and stuff like that on your phone? I feel like that's just like, no, I don't like it. Don't like it. I don't like mobile games. I just don't like them. I feel like there's always going to be some kind of audience for console games, even if we're like in our 60s or 70s or whatever. We're in old folks home, we got like retro consoles all set up. Like, it's like, you know, like the it's like going to be like I forgot the word, what I'm thinking of, like, you know, like retro music. I've got like vinyl. That's it. It'll be like vinyl. It's like it's going to be like basically, oh, I play console games. I got a collection of these old console games from the back in the 2010s that they play on my retro system. I think like console games will still be a thing in the future, but I feel like the kids don't like them. The kids like their phones and they like their Fortnites and they're dancing and you know that shite. Which makes me sad. I love console gaming. Yes, apparently it's the slowest growing market. That's Xbox have kind of already. It sounds like they've already given up on the console market. Really, I mean, they're still going to obviously invest in it. And they want to do better in it, but they feel like PlayStation and Nintendo have kind of got that sewn up, so they try to also expand into PC and mobile a lot more as well, which is kind of disappointing. Speaking of mobile as well, Xbox tried to buy Zynga. I should have probably mentioned this during the Sega section earlier, but yeah, apparently they tried to buy Zynga before APK. So yeah, that's interesting. So Zynga was bought by who bought Zynga? I think it was 2K. I think bought Zynga. I might be wrong. Which is the biggest gaming acquisition of all time before the APK deal went through. And now the ABK deal is the biggest gaming transition of all time. So interested. They were really interested in getting into the mobile space before ABK, and then ABK came up and they just couldn't resist the deal, I guess. Would have been weird to have Zynga under the Xbox banner, but it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, interested. What do you think? You a Zynga fan?
Well, I don't know. I don't know a great deal about Zynga, and I don't even remember like which games are popular, because I don't know if it's to do with Words with Friends or some sort like that.
I can't remember. So King is who we are buying. They're Candy Crush. I think Zynga. I'll have a look who's Zynga. Zynga does big games. They're like big mobile games, but I'm not into mobile games, so I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to look it up now on my phone. I should have made note of this. I'm sorry. Come on, give me a list of games. Farmville. Word with Friends. Yeah, you were right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Game of Thrones slots. Wow.
That's random.
Wizard of Oz slots. It's a lot of Wizard of Oz slots as well. What the hell? Lemon Okay. Man, all these games are crap. I'm sorry, but they do. The list of games on mobile games of Zynga, they look awful. Oh, thank God Xbox ain't buying them. Jesus. God, I'm really worried about the mobile future. I don't want to be playing mobile games with microtransactions and shit all the time. I don't know. I hate mobile games. They're so crap. I'm sorry, but they are. I hate it.
Just imagine Halo with microtransactions in mobile.
Yeah, I mean, they already have microtransactions, but now put it on mobile as well. Like, no. You have to use a touch screen. No. Oh, no, it's disgusting. Okay. Speaking of good news, it's not really good news. It's awful news. Xbox almost lost Call of Duty. Activision charges Xbox 80/20 and like everyone else who pays 70/30. Otherwise, they would have skipped the Xbox system. They wanted a higher cut of the profits for Call of Duty because they don't like, they're greedy bastards. I don't know what else to say. It's a bit
Well,
unfortunate.
I think that 80/20 is not too bad. And I think once Microsoft has bought Activision, it just means they have them under their wing. So, but then it's not like they have to come in just like leech on their profits, really. So I think it's just pretty fine. Like, it could have been like 25%, but then if Activision wants a higher cut of it, then pretty much leave it like that, because it's probably better to claim ownership of it and something to like go over to on like Xbox rather than trying to leave it multi-platform or let Sony get it. But that reminds me, like, there's a Sony and Marvel WoW, and Sony originally didn't want to do more MCU Spider-Man movies, and then Marvel just says like, oh, Sony's like being like unreasonable, and then they just had to concede defeat by saying, oh well, we'll just have to like make more MCU Spider-Man movies, even though we're not getting so much profit there. When it was actually Marvel like collecting more profits. So yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, but they were like Tom Holland and Spider-Man. They were going to just like the MCU Spider-Man. They were going to kill off and just start a new Spider-Man series, just Sony exclusive again. The movie rights there are really annoying when it comes to Spider-Man. Very weird. So we could have lived in a world where we had no Call of Duty on Xbox, which would have been weird to me. Because I know PlayStation have had the marketing rights for Call of Duty for a long time, and I know that most people play Call of Duty on PlayStation. But in my head, Call of Duty is an Xbox franchise, man. I mean, growing up, like when I was in university, everyone played Call of Duty on their Xbox. No one played Call of Duty on the PS3. Everyone played on the Xbox 360. In my head, Call of Duty is still an Xbox title, even though, I mean, technically it will be, hopefully, in July. But like in my head, it's like that's how I always associate it, you know. But yeah, weird thought process that might happen in the parallel universe. We might not ever have a Call of Duty game. There seems to be a trend with Xbox is that when they get like a financial people trying to like people are trying to squeeze money out of Xbox and go, you know what, we'll just buy a company instead. Because that's the next story. Sony wanted to make Starfield exclusive, and that's why Xbox bought Bethesda. Basically, Xbox bought Bethesda to stop Sony making more games exclusive to their platform, and actually so Xbox could keep up. Because they're already in third place, and they thought if they're already in third place and they lost Starfield as well as all these other games, then they would never ever catch up. So they needed Bethesda under their umbrella. And people who say like, oh, it's not a natural fit. I feel like Bethesda is like the perfect fit for Xbox. Like Todd Howard like loves Xbox, and like the people who work there all get along. And Morrowind was an Xbox exclusive, and all, you know, it's like, I don't know, they feel like they fit. They works together for me, Bethesda and Xbox. I don't know. So yeah, I got a quote here from Phil Spencer. When we heard that Starfield was potentially also going to end up skipping Xbox, we can't be in a position as a third place console where we fall further behind. So our content ownership. On our contact ownership, so we've had to secure content by remaining viable in the business. So yeah, they needed to buy Bethesda to remain competitive. Without Bethesda, God knows where they would be. Could you imagine this year on Xbox without Bethesda? We'd have Minecraft Legends and Forza, and that's it. That's kind of mad to think, you know. And last year it was like Obsidian carried everything, but this year Bethesda's kind of carried it. Even though we got Redfall, but we'll just forget about that. But yeah, we got Starfield, we had Hi-Fi Rush. So, you know, yeah. Interested. Are you glad that we bought Xbox bought Bethesda, or?
I just think it's just right, because Bethesda has gone well with the Xbox platforms, which makes Microsoft's acquisition of Bethesda to be a more sensible decision than being the right decision. Also, bear in mind that I just think I was gonna say something, but then I just couldn't think of what I was gonna say, but then
That's all right.
But I think honestly, it's just like, um, uh, I think to be honest, Bethesda's already like gotten themselves big, and now it's just like coming over to Xbox and PC. So
Yeah.
it's pretty reasonable. Also, the PlayStation games didn't do well with the Bethesda games, so I just think like if Sony were to like have rights to all the Bethesda games, they would just turn out far worse.
That's true. I again, like I was saying earlier, I feel like in my head, Call of Duty is an Xbox franchise, even though we had all the franchises were on PlayStation. I feel like I've always felt Bethesda games are Xbox games, really. Like I've always felt like that, like Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout, all that kind of I associate that with Xbox. Or I associate it with PC, really. PC and then Xbox as a console, as like an extension. If you're playing like Skyrim on a PlayStation, I don't know what you're doing because it doesn't run very well. It's not as good as playing it on the Xbox. You know, it was optimized for Xbox Skyrim, and it was buggy as hell on the PS3 apparently. Yeah, I for me, I've always I'm glad that they nailed this down. I haven't written this in the notes, but apparently Todd Howard was against PlayStation making Starfield exclusive. And maybe Todd Howard's the reason why Xbox bought Bethesda. Maybe Todd was like, look, PlayStation are offering this amount of money. Can you please buy us so we don't have to deal with PlayStation and we can just work with you? I mean, that could have been what happened because apparently Todd Howard and Phil Spencer are really good friends. Like in the roundtable, apparently, I remember this quote from the roundtable. He was talking about, Todd Howard was talking about Fallout 76 being buggy at launch. And he was basically saying about how he reached out to Phil Spencer to try and get it working and like for advice. So these guys are obviously friends before even the Bethesda acquisition was a thing, you know? Like they helped each other with Morrowind and all sorts of stuff. So I feel like Bethesda and Xbox are a perfect fit. They always have been, and I think it makes perfect sense. And I'm glad it happened. It'd be weird to live in a world where Starfield's exclusive to PlayStation. I think that'd be so fucking strange. That'd be so odd. I don't know how I would feel about
No.
that.
Moving on.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one.
I just couldn't believe it, but there's no Minecraft on the PlayStation 5, at least yet, because Sony keeps denying the Xbox development kits, which would have otherwise allowed them to put Minecraft on the PlayStation 5.
Exactly.
Like, you could say that it's makes kind of sense, but then they seems to be not doing themselves a favor because of like, I can't really touch the Xbox dev kit, so no Minecraft on PlayStation 5. So I just
cuties.
Yeah.
That's what like. So if you have a PS5, you can still play Minecraft, but you have to play it as the PS4 version. The reason they haven't got a PS5 patch or update that's like 4K or whatever is because Xbox weren't giving dev kits, and they still haven't been given dev kits apparently. And they're worried about Call of Duty having the same issue.
But according to your notes, it says Sony denied the kits, not Xbox not giving them kits.
Sony denied Xbox their dev kits for PS5. So Xbox doesn't have PS5 dev kits to make PS5 games.
No.
So, and they also made the same. They've also said if this deal goes through with ABK, they're not going to be providing dev kits for PS6 to Xbox. So it's like, well, do you want Call of Duty or not? Because you're going to have to give us dev kits. I don't understand why they're being like this. It's like, we won't give you dev kits. It's like, well, we know what your console's going to be. It's just going to be a basic gaming computer, like with certain specs. We're probably going to have very similar specs. I don't understand why you're hiding your dev kit from people. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Dumb. Doesn't make any sense. And basically, it's the only people who are missing out are PlayStation gamers who can't play the PS5 version of Minecraft. I love Minecraft. I would be bummed to not be able to play it in 4K 60 and all that. I love Minecraft. It's such a good game. And it might be detrimental to Call of Duty, but that's their own fault. Like, Xbox want to make the best version of Call of Duty on PlayStation, but if you're not going to provide dev kits, you're going to have like a PS5 version of Call of Duty on the PS6.
No.
That's probably what's going to happen. You're going to have ones that optimize for PS5, and sorry, no PS6 version because they didn't give you that kit. Sorry, your loss. Speaking of Call of Duty, Phil Spencer, under oath, said 4 or 5 times the Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation. The FTC were being completely over the top about it, kept asking over and over and over again in different ways. So, are you sure it's coming to PlayStation? And Phil Spencer was like, yes. Are you double sure? Yes. Are you double dog dare sure? Yes. Swear on your mother's life. Yes, it's coming to swear on you. It's just like ridiculous. It just kept asking the same question over and over again. And Phil Spencer in every way said, yes, we want to release Call of Duty on PlayStation. As long as PlayStation provide dev kits and all that, and they pay us the same amount as everyone else, they will get Call of Duty. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else we can say. They've been like Phil Spencer has been saying this since the acquisition was announced. Yet PlayStation people still don't believe it. It's so strange. Like, why would they remove Call of Duty when they've still got like Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, Minecraft, and all that on your PlayStation system still? Why would they remove Call of Duty when they've already got all these other games on the other systems? It doesn't make sense.
It just seems as if like Call of Duty is a huge. It's like it's the biggest deal out of this whole thing. Like,
which is mad.
Come on, it's not like it's the only game they can think of. Like they don't seem to mind when there's like Crash Bandicoot, there's Overwatch 2, and all the other games. But as soon as you bring Call of Duty to the table, people freak out over the fact that it's coming to coming to Microsoft as a owned property. And but then when you come to the consideration that Sony's not likely to like settle anything that Microsoft offers, it just seems like as much as Sony will probably shoot themselves on the foot over this, it just seems as if people are skeptical to think as if, oh, the Call of Duty is not coming over to PlayStation in the end because Sony is just like refused to Xbox dev kits, and I just think
they lost them. Stupidity.
Yeah, it is certainly stupidity.
They say they want to do what's best for the customers. What's best for the customers is to give them the dev kit so they can make a better system, better game for you. So stop being children and just get on with it. Sorry. So another interesting point now is ABK is worth more than 70 billion to Xbox. It's worth more of an investment than what they're paying. Some FCC guy was like going like, "Oh, so you're just wasting 70 billion on so you no longer got 70 billion pounds." Like, that's not how acquisitions work. Like, basically explaining to the Federal Trade Commission how to do acquisitions. They don't understand how acquisitions work. Isn't that your job to know how acquisitions work? Like, Phil Spencer completely schooled him. It's hilarious. So I got the quote here. When you require something, it is not a payment. It's like when you buy a house. You're buying an asset that has value. So it is really transferring of cash into an asset called Activision that you believe retains the value that you require. So to try and characterize the 70 billion as somehow spent is incorrect. Financially, it's really moving $70 million cash into an asset, which is a gaming publisher that is to us actually worth more than 70 billion. So it is not spent. So the FTC was like, "Oh, you just spent $70 billion." It's like, that's not how it works. It's not like he goes, "Here's your money." And I was gone. It's like, "Oh man, 70 billion. Oh no, I got 70 billion less money now." That's not how it works. Stupid FTC. But it's interesting that Xbox thinks it's worth more than 70 billion. To me, I thought 70 billion is a lot of money for a company, but I guess
it's just ridiculous.
They got King,
well, you
Blizzard, they got King, I suppose. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, mind you that Elon Musk bought Twitter for 42 billion, didn't they?
That's true, yeah, 42 billion for
So with
Twitter,
that 70 billion dollars, you would be able to give a year's worth of money for each resident in the United States. But then that's just an estimate. But 70 billion is just enough to like let's just say in the UK, I think it's coming towards 70 billion people or something. Oh, no, it's actually 70 million. So for each person, you give them like roughly about £1,000 for each person in the UK.
That's insane.
So then it's just insane. Like, yep, 70 billion is all you need to buy Activision. So I don't know how that compares to them, whether they would decide to buy Sega for less, buy Rooster Teeth for less, or even like Sega for less.
Yeah. So to put it in perspective, I think Star Wars was 5 billion. Disney bought Star Wars for about 5 billion, I believe. At the moment, Manchester United, the biggest football club in the world, is currently for sale, and they're going for about 6 billion. And that's like the biggest franchise one of the biggest franchises in the world, Manchester United. That's going for about 6 billion. So 70 billion, that's like over 10 times the amount. It's mad.
They could buy the entire Premiership League.
Yeah, they could buy the whole Premier League. Yeah, they could. They really could. That's madness, because that's like the biggest sporting league in the world, money-wise. Mad. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, in my head, I can't see how it's worth 70 billion, but they say it is. So, I mean, yeah, okay, you get Candy Crush, you get King in general, right? So you get all the mobile games. You get Call of Duty, the biggest console game. You get World of Warcraft, the biggest MMO. You get Overwatch, which is super popular. You get all the Blizzard games, all the Activision back catalogue. I suppose, yeah, if you think of it like that, maybe it's worth 70 billion. I'm not sure.
It's crazy.
I mean, obviously, Xbox has been saying for years that they want to have 4 big games every year on Game Pass. So if this Activision deal done, that's every year you get a Call of Duty. So that's 1/4 of the problem solved, right? You're just going to come up with another 3 games every year to cover the other 4 quarters.
Once they get once they spent it and then they just like recouped all their losses and just say they got $150 billion, they can then come over to Ubisoft and buy them next.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Ubisoft next. I mean, I want Sega. I've been saying I want Sega for a long time. Let's get Sega. Let's just get it done. Get it done.
They'll probably buy it for 5 billion. So
yeah. So I think we're actually on the last story of the court case, which is kind of crazy. We got through it quite quickly. Actually, I'm quite surprised. So they had FTC, to try and prove their point, they got someone in from Google Stadia, and Google Stadia basically said that Xbox wasn't a competitor when they were in the cloud streaming bit. It wasn't really a thing, and PlayStation was more of a competitor, and so was Prime, Amazon Prime, and it's the same market. So essentially, the FTC goes, "Yeah, we got you now. We're gonna get Google to talk about you," and Google basically went, "Yeah, it's all right, it's no problem."
Then Stadia folded.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is my favorite quote. We got one more quote now, and this is the final quote of the whole. There's probably more stuff that happened, but these are like all the notes I made. This is the final note I made. It's my favorite quote of the whole the whole court case so far. Phil Spencer goes, "Every time we ship a game on PlayStation, Sony captures 30% of revenue that we do on their platform. And then they use that money among other revenue revenue that they have to do things to try and reduce Xbox survival on the market. So essentially, we give you money, you use that money to try and kill us." Thanks, PlayStation. I love that quote. I kind of botched it up, but the quote is one of my favorite quotes for the whole thing. It's like, PlayStation, we're giving you money. We're trying to be friendly here. Stop being a dick. Like, what are you doing? So mean. So mean. Poor Xbox. I mean, this court case is supposed to show how Xbox is a monopoly, but really it's showed how much of a dick PlayStation is, really.
Yeah.
Like buying exclusives, and Jim Ryan saying that everyone is just, the console market is good for monetization. Like, come on.
Well,
Jesus.
Well, I think you have to put in perspective that, those who are like against huge corporations like Microsoft or those who say the PlayStation will always view Microsoft as a monopoly and feel as if like they see Activision deal as a huge problem. But so far, it's just seemed from the Xbox perspective is that people are like throwing a hissy fit over this deal when it could make or break on how Microsoft managed their properties. But then again, they already like got Bethesda under their wings, and I mean, going for this sort. But I think they feel as if they buying Activision as a safety measure when they just like could have like settled them on like the smaller companies. But then they already like bought other companies too while they're trying to process the Activision deal. But in my honest opinion, it's just like it's turning into a massive Mickey Mouse operation because Jim Ryan doesn't actually want Activision deal to go ahead. And now so far, it's just like Sony is just like acting pretty childish as if they're not willing to accept the terms and just really doesn't want that deal to happen. It's almost as if they want to control that. But then the other perspective is that maybe Microsoft is like trying to be too dominating by buying other companies when obviously Sony's like bought Bungie and a few other things, and there's already things like Genshin Impact, there's Spider-Man, and there's even a few other franchises.
Final Fantasy,
and even like Square Enix games are just like taking huge priority on the PlayStation as well. So it just seems as if Sony doesn't really want Xbox to be dominating with the other studios.
Yeah. I also, as a quote I forgot to put in here, which I should have put in here, Matt Booty from Xbox, in an email from 2019, so this is an old email, said that we're in a unique position that we can outspend Sony out of business. That we can put Sony out of business. Matt Booty is a savage. What a savage bro. I love it. He basically said he could have invested $2 billion, and we could have invested. Microsoft is in a very unique position to be able to go spend Sony out of business, is what he said. It's like we could have spent $2 billion and then basically outspend them now, or we could. It was just an interesting comment, but apparently, like you said, well, that's no longer how we feel. That's an old comment. So.
But doesn't it like goes against Microsoft because they said they were going to like spend money to put Sony out of the business, and it kind of seems as if they have, shows much of a threat to Sony or some sort like that. But then, isn't it a case of like Microsoft having enough power to buy Activision when now it's like Sony's trying to scheme with other people to try to prevent that from happening?
I mean, it looks bad for Matt Booty. It looks bad for Xbox. But as I said, this was 2019. They said that's no longer how we feel, blah, blah, blah. But it does make you think, if we do have a change of leadership at the top, Xbox could become like the empire from they have the power to completely crush all their competition if they really wanted to. I feel like PlayStation should feel lucky that we got someone like Phil Spencer in charge, who seems to be a bit more level-headed and wants a competitive market. But I swear, if you could get someone in who wants to just crush Sony, and they could. The Xbox could just buy every company out, buy all exclusivity on these games, and they could destroy Sony if they really wanted to. I've always said Xbox is a sleeping giant, and I feel like Sony's woken them up with their jabs and their exclusivity stuff and trying to get them to like minimize their business. I don't know how I feel. I mean, I kind of agree with Matt Booty. They could have just completely put PlayStation out of business, but I'm glad they haven't, because competition's good for the business. It's good for everyone having competition. I don't want Xbox to be the only game in town. But yeah, it's interesting. I thought it was an interesting quote, and I should have mentioned it. And that is all I have from the court case. I'm sure there was more. If we missed anything, let us know in the comments below. Also, we're recording this on, what's the date? Wednesday the 28th. at 5:30 in the UK, so the court case is back in action right now. So we don't know what they're saying in day 4 or day 5 or the results or anything like that. So when this goes up, we'll be a day or two behind the court case. So there is stuff that obviously we don't know because we're not psychic.
Well, there's a couple of things there that I don't know if it's mentioned, but he said that Jim Ryan said that he doesn't like Starfield exclusivity, but he doesn't deem it to be anti-competitive. Yeah. And it just like goes on to saying, it's not that huge of a deal, and then they seem to be making a huge fuss about it.
It's because he'd be a hypocrite if he said it was anti-competitive, because he tried to make it exclusive first.
Also,
like, he don't want to be a hypocrite, but he is.
One of the videos that you also got the information from is there's a chart where, like, without the merger of Microsoft and Activision, you get games on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox only. And if there was a merger, then it's a question mark on PlayStation, but you get the Activision games on Xbox, PC, Nintendo, and some other like
you buy this EE and what's the other one? Nvidia, I think. Yeah, I saw that. It was on Destin Gary's channel, which I watch a lot of his stuff. He's very useful. If you want to know more about the court case, go check out the Destin channel. It's very interesting. He covers it quite a lot. I got that from that. Yeah, so it was an FCC guy trying to fight for PlayStation, saying, "Oh, but look, if Xbox buys it, it's going to be on more platforms." Like, why is that a bad thing? What do you mean? That's a good thing, right? There's on more platforms. What do you mean? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot to mention that one. Yeah, I'm sure there's loads I've missed. I've gone through that. I was like, I'm surprised how much we got through, but yeah, so it was a big. There's a lot coming out of this court case. FTC kind of look foolish. I honestly feel like they don't know what they're talking about, and I feel like all the Xbox executives seem really intelligent, really eloquent. I listened to, like, because a lot of this I got after the fact, but I actually listened to the court case a little bit when Sarah Bond was on the stand, and she is so eloquent and such a good speaker. She's like, I believe everything she said. She's like spot on. If she becomes the leader of Xbox, I wouldn't be mad. If she feels like she's the next after Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond. She's fantastic. I feel like everyone in Xbox knows what they're talking about. Like, that's what that's another thing I don't like about Jim Ryan. He doesn't play games. He doesn't know about games. He's just a businessman. Whereas the people in Xbox seem to know about gaming. Like Sarah Bond was talking about how her dad plays Diablo and it's his favorite game, and she loves playing Planet of Lana and all this stuff. And then you see I have Phil Spencer on Xbox. You get, every time I go on there, it's like, Phil Spencer is playing this game. Phil Spencer is playing this game. It's like all the Xbox executives seem to play video games and they know what they're talking about. Whereas Jim Ryan, you see pictures of him online holding the controller like this. Oh.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't understand why people want retro games, and coming out with stuff like microtransaction, like console gaming is good for microtransactions. It's like horrible and really disgusting. I hate that. I miss the old PlayStation. I miss Shuhei Yoshida and all that. I miss like the old PlayStation, the faces of PlayStation. They used to be much more like, gamer friendly. They don't seem as gamer friendly now. They just seem very business minded, which sucks. But hey, maybe he's a nice guy in real life, but he's not. He doesn't give off a good impression on camera. I'm sorry, he's not a very good face for your company. I'm sorry, he's really not. But yeah, that's the court case. Is there any other things we forgot to bring up? Let us know in the comments below. I'm sure there is, because there was so much to cover, and I just basically have watched videos and made notes for everything I can think of. And I think we got through it really quickly as well. So that was fascinating. I'm really looking forward to the results.
Yes.
This time next week, we should hopefully have answers. Is Xbox going to buy Activision Blizzard King? Probably, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Interesting, though. It's going to be interesting because if the FTC trial does fall apart, Xbox are going to be in within there. They're going to probably buy Activision before July ends, because that's when they're they got like a $3 billion investment to buy it before July. so they will buy it before July if the court case happens. But what's going to happen for us in the UK? The CMA is still a pain in the ass. So it might be everyone in the world gets Call of Duty on Game Pass apart from us, which would be really annoying and make me sad. And Activision and Diablo and all these other great Activision games. That might happen in July. We'll see what happens in July. We're going to have a good couple of weeks of this now. So next week we'll have probably the results. I did say we might do. I was saying to you in a private chat, we might do reactions to the results when they come out. Obviously, it depends when they come out, what time, and how much detail they give us. But you'd be really interested to see what happens. And obviously, we're going to find out if they're going to actually buy them in July, which is the rumor that they're going to get it all done by the end of July. Well, June's nearly over, so soon, very soon. So that is it for this week's episode of Xbox the Box. Apart from, do you have a final question for me? Because that's usually how we end it, or do you not have one?
I have one.
I have a question for you, Chief.
So, quite a simple one.
Okay.
So do you believe that at the end of this FTC hearing that would Microsoft be able to get this deal approved, or would Sony have their way by having it blocked?
So, everyone's saying that the 3 days of courts we've had, Xbox have been completely dominant, and the FTC have looked like idiots. They said the judge doesn't seem interested in anything the FTC has to say, because the FTC's case seems to be very paper thin and doesn't seem to have anything behind it. So it's looking like Xbox is going to win, but we still got a day of the trial left, and you never know. The court might just come out of nowhere and give us the out of the blue result. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic. I think it's going to happen. And if people go, why do you want mergers and acquisitions to happen? It's like, because I'm a Game Pass subscriber. That's why. I want this to happen for us, because we subscribe to Game Pass and we will get Activision games on Game Pass, which is fantastic for us. It'd be a really good deal. I'm not really a Call of Duty fan, but I will play all the Call of Duties that are on Game Pass for damn sure. I'm going to go back and play all the old ones I've missed. So I hope this happens. I hope it does. I really do. And it'd be good for Xbox. I feel like Xbox, if they get ABK done in the next month or so, if it gets done, Xbox will be level with PlayStation. I think that kind of puts them on level playing field with them, with the amount of studios and the amount of games they're bringing out and stuff like that. It kind of brings them on par with Sony, and it's going to be good for everyone. Business competition's good, so I hope this happens. Fingers crossed. And then by Sega, then the Sega, because that's what I really want. I want Sonic. Put Sonic on the box next to Master Chief. That's what we need. But yes, I'm optimistic that it's going to happen. But I'm not going to get my hopes up too much, because I'm a sports fan and I know something's... if you ever watch enough sports like I do, you don't want to get too carried away, because something can always happen at the end and screw everything up. So, yes. I hope so. I think so. Fingers crossed. And as I said, I'm worried about us as the UK citizens, because our stupid government are idiots and they've tried to block the deal, and they're the only country in the world who've tried to stop it. So thanks, UK, being complete morons. I'm going to have to Google how to use a VPN on Xbox. I might move to Australia with NordVPN.
But then, if the FTC, the case comes in Microsoft's favor, would that make it easier for the CMA to do the U-turn on this whole verdict?
I hope so. I hope that this is, because they're going to close the deal no matter what. If the FCT, if Xbox win the court case, apparently, so I'm not a lawyer, I don't know for sure, but apparently they are closing the deal in July, because that's when the deadline is. If they miss the deadline, they got to pay Activision $3 billion if they miss the deadline in the middle of July, so they need to get it done before, I think it's the 19th of July? I'm not 100% sure. I think it's the 19th of July. So basically, as soon as this court case is done, we should hear within like days or even like hours after the court case that the deal is done and it's officially been wrapped up. So fingers crossed. I hope that's the case. We'll get it done. As I said, the worry is the CMA is still blocking it. So they're going to probably get the deal done and just have some kind of loophole where the UK doesn't get Game Pass stuff. Which is going to suck. No. Or they could do like a shell company that just works in the UK. I don't know how it's going to work. They're going to find a workaround because the UK government is stupid and they've completely fucked over the I already pay extra money for butter and milk. God damn it. I want to have my Game Pass games.
Yes.
God damn it. It's so annoying. Yeah, as I said, VPN Australia. That's what I'm going to do. My sister lives in Australia, so I'm not technically lying.
Yeah.
I'll just use her address and I'll put my Xbox through a VPN and say I live in Australia and I'll get all my games from the Australian shop. There we go.
So, shall we wrap this up?
Yes. Yes, we shall. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We're doing really well. We're like 120, 130 subscribers now.
It's 131, actually.
Wow, we're doing really well. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We're still a small podcast and we're really trying to grow. So thank you.
And if you keep this up and try to subscribe more to us, we may eventually be in PS We Trust, guys, at about 150 subscribers.
Let's go. They were mocking Xbox gamers last week on their show. You gotta prove them wrong. You gotta subscribe to us. We gotta beat them. We gotta beat the PlayStation people. Team Xbox.
Show them at the game with their ever expensive microphones because they already spent so much money on it. Whereas I got the setup for my microphone at about 250 quid. So.
Ooh. Love it. Yeah, get them their Q lights and their expensive earbuds and the VR headsets and their walking simulators.
And
Team
also
Xbox.
Bought a lot of like that juice drink, the energy drink by Logan Paul.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's it called? Yeah, Prime. That's it. Team Xbox. Phil Spencer says we lost the console war. We're going to win the console war. This is the real console war, the podcast war. We love those guys, really. I'm just messing. But still, subscribe to the Xbox.
Yes.
Yeah. Team Xbox. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. Next week will be a big one, probably, because we will hopefully have the results of this and probably have some more juicy gossip.
And we may do a quick reaction to the verdict, which is on Friday, I presume?
I think so. Not 100% sure. I'll have to look it up. But we will try to do a reaction once we get the news, what's happening. And it's going to be exciting. And I imagine if it does get done, we'll probably get like a round table next week or the week after, or like a development direct or something with all the developers of Activision. So there's going to be loads to cover, I'm sure, for the next couple of weeks. Until we get to Starfield in September, which I'm very excited for.
Yes.
Yes, a lot to cover. Team Xbox. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, too sweet.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow us at X Marks Box on Twitter or X Marks the Box on YouTube. And follow us on all audio podcast services. Thanks for listening.